Look, I understand that the title you just read sounds clickbaity to you, but the thing is, it's actually true. And in just a few minutes, I'll tell you exactly how and why this thing works. So, the thing I'm talking about is none other than intermittent fasting. So, of course, throughout the last few years, this thing has gained a lot more popularity and a lot of people are doing it. But at the same time, like around my family and like around my peers, I still don't see a lot of people actually practicing it. Like, they understand it's good, they understand like it's a like why they should do it, but they don't actually do it. And I don't really understand why, but in this way I'm going to try to convince you on how good it actually is, because it's easy to read something online and think like, okay, this is good for my health and I should be doing it more. But the thing is, I'll tell you real life results and the real life, you can say, the things that I feel by doing this, so that it might work the same for you and you can try intermittent fasting for yourself. So, if any of you don't know what intermittent fasting is, it's basically eating for some time and then fasting for some time. Like, sounds simple, right? But the thing is, you fast for a large period of time and you eat for a very small period of time in your 24-hour day. So, for example, a very normal eating window and fasting window would be like 16-hour or 17-hour fast, and like the remaining time is your eating window, which is about like 8 hours. And this is still for the like very beginners. Like, of course, if you're like a binge eater, you can start even before that, like 12 to 14 hours, and then working up your way to like the 8 5-hour fast. But the thing is, once you start doing it and you can like feel the clarity you get from these things, you can actually like never go back to being the way you were before. Because I don't know if you're gonna believe me, but right now, if you're eating breakfast the first thing in the morning and like a carb loaded breakfast, something like bread or like eggs, flour, not exactly, but flour or pancakes, like all of these breakfasts that are famous around the world and people usually take that, then most likely your brain and overall like your mental capacity, and basically you're around 40 to 50% dumber than you normally would be if you didn't eat those things. And that also works in with your capacity to work and memorize things and all of these things. And that's why like the main three things that I told in the title was how I study better, how I make more money, and how I actually lose weight. So let's start with the first one and the most easiest one, with the losing weight. So when your body goes into a fast, it naturally starts using up the fats it has stored in your body for energy. So for example, if you have any loose fat stored in any part of your body, like usually if you have a higher percentage of fat in your body, like you're above 15 or 16% body fat, like this would work if you have any body fat percentage at all. But the thing is, if you have excess fat, and it's like for it's different for most people, like fat is stored in different areas for most people. But the thing is, once you're in a fasted state, the body starts using up that fat for energy for your like day-to-day function. Like of course, if you start working out in that fasted period as well, it's even more plus, because now you're really using up all that fat. But for even for your like day-to-day activities like working or like even just you can say breathing and things like that, your body needs energy for that. So if you don't provide your body with energy, it starts using up the already you can say stored up fats in your body. And the thing is that just uses up your stored fat and you lose body fat, which is losing weight. So that's the most simplest one of all. And it is also good for you can say toxins and the harmful chemicals in your body, because once the body starts like using up things in its you can say like in its area, the thing is, it also gets rid of things that could potentially cause harm in the future, like, and removes cancerous cells if they're like storing up somebody. Because the thing is, you can basically understand like that, I'll explain it as simply as I can for you, that if you keep eating and your body is directly getting energy from that, your body doesn't really need to check up on your internal organs, and basically it doesn't need to run a self check on itself, because they're just getting the energy from the food. But if you don't eat for a while and they have to search for food inside your body, like they have to search for like you can say minerals and things to get energy from, then they start to identify things that which are like, okay, this thing should probably not be here, and get rid of that, and you can say metabolize that and things like that. So that's the number one. This is how it helped me lose weight. So the next thing is how it helped me study better. So for studying, the best thing or the most obvious thing is that you need to have a sharp mind, right, and a clear mind. And fasting is the best thing that has helped me achieve that, because the thing is, if you eat a lot of carbohydrates the first thing in the morning, the thing is you are definitely going to have brain fog. And brain fog is basically when you, yeah, like you can even relate with this with yourself, that you have days where you can't think clearly and you just want to lie down and not think about anything and just mindlessly consume things, like you feel like scrolling through TikTok or Instagram and just doing those kind of activities, right? So that's basically what brain fog is. And when you eat a lot of carbohydrates the first thing in the morning, you get brain fog, and that's like a normal thing. Like you will get brain fog regardless of like when you eat carbohydrates. But the thing is, if you can time it and you can not eat them when you're gonna do like a mental thing. So for me, if know I'm gonna have to study for like 9 a.m. to 10 or like 12 a.m. in the morning, so for those 3 or 4 hours, I'll try to have a fasted state, because that will be the most sharpest and the most clearest I'll be. So if I'm doing math, for example, that will be like my best like mathematical arithmetic calculation that I'll be able to do inside my mind. And this works for basically anybody. Like if you have any kind of work, most likely you're gonna have to use your brain in it. So that's what I personally do, is I fast till like 1 or 2 p.m. and I do everything that involves like thinking and all of those kind of things first thing in the morning. And then the other things like maybe working out or like organizing and like the lower tasks which don't revolve around thinking, that I can shift to the later of the day. So that's how it helps me study better. So especially in my exam days, this is exactly what I did. I'm not lying. I used to go to bed for at like 9 or sometimes even 8:30, and I woke up around 3:30 a.m. in the night. So after that, of course, my last meal was before when I slept, so it was usually even sometimes as early as 6 or 7 a.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m. So at that time, I just got up at 4 or like 4 or 3 a.m. and then straight up got into studying and studied, like had a good block of studying where I studied for like 2 or 3 hours and got most of the work done. And this was in a fasted state. And it's also the thing that if most of your fasting time is going into sleep, you're not gonna like burn as much calories, because in sleeping you're not really working anything, you're resting and you don't need a lot of energy. But when you're awake, and for example if you are fasting and you're also awake for the all for during the time you're fasting, so that will burn a lot more calories. And it will also be more productive in the sense, because if you have clear brain, then you'd rather work in that than just sleep, because during sleep you don't really like feel the difference between a clear brain and a foggy brain, so it doesn't really matter. And the last thing that I want to get into is how it make me more money. So obviously this can also tie into work, because if you're feeling not like if you don't have any brain fog, you're probably gonna work better on whatever you're doing, and when you're working better you obviously make more money. But if you want to do it in a literal sense, it's that once you start doing fasting, you realize that your body needs a lot less than you realize. So right now, like my entire, you can say, I eat only one proper meal a day, and the other meal which I eat, which is like milk and eggs only, and sometimes yogurt. But like this is not a proper meal, right? In which you have like rice and chicken and all of those things. So this is the only thing that I eat when I break my fast. So generally, when you're fasting, you're not going to be eating as much as you otherwise would, and you would be saving all that money. And it might not sound a lot of money to you, but for people who eat like a really big, like sugary breakfast, like cereals and pancakes and whatever, like for them they can save up a lot of money if they can just skip that thing. Because come on, like your body does not need all those sugary cereals. Like even if you don't eat them, you're just eating them purely for like self comfort. Your body does not need that, and everybody knows that. So if you just cut that and start doing intermittent fasting, you cut down on those like expenditures. And the other thing that I just mentioned, that once you have a clear brain and you can work like at 5 times the capacity you could before, you're definitely just gonna make a lot more money than that. So those were the three primary benefits that I get from fasting. And of course, if you like, you can extend it out, because like some of the hardcore people, they do like 4 hour eating window and 20-hour fast, and that can also work for you if like your sleep schedule and things like that align with it. But I personally don't do that myself and wouldn't advise that to anybody as well, because then it just feels like a lot of burden on your brain, and you can't really stick with it for a long period of time. But anyway, try it out for yourself and let me know what results you see.